Legendary singer Tony Bennett dead at 96. Bennett leaves behind several adult children. Famed American singer Tony Bennett has died Friday at the age of 96. His publicist Sylvia Weiner confirmed Bennett's death to the Associated Press, saying that Bennett passed away in his hometown of New York. As of now, there has been no specific cause of death announced, although Bennett was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2016. A performer for 7 decades, Bennett played his last concert in 2021 at Radio City Music Hall with frequent collaborator and friend Lady Gaga. The event was titled, One Last Time, an event with Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga, and aired on November 28 of that year. Fans and critics alike were moved by his performance, and it was noted that despite battling Alzheimer's for several years at that point, he was still able to command the stage with hardly a stumble over a single lyric. It was a remarkable send-off to a remarkable career that began in the early 50s. He began singing not long after finishing up his service in the army during World War II. He fought in the European theater and wrote in his autobiography, The Good Life, that it was a terrifying, demoralizing experience, and that he saw things no human being should ever have to see. Bennett was signed to Columbia Records in 1950, and after mild success, he got a #1 hit with Because of You in 1951. In the years following, his career continued to thrive, and in 1962 he released one of his most popular songs, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. Soon after, the trend in popular music began to shift. Crooners like Bennett were no longer on top, and rock and roll began to take over the charts. His career suffered during this transition, especially when his record label attempted to change his style to more closely match the Beatles, who had been blowing up in the UK. His career floundered for years after this. His record label dropped him in 1971, but in 1986 he released an album called The Art of Excellence, and while it didn't do as well commercially as his earlier works, it did serve to revitalize his career, which would remain steady for the rest of his life. In the early 90s, his popularity surged again when he was discovered by a younger audience. He appeared on MTV's popular series, Unplugged, and released an album from that performance, appeared at the network's award shows, and even had a music video in rotation on the channel. Younger people loved Bennett, and he notably didn't change his style in the least to gain that love. In 2014, Bennett experienced yet another wave of popularity when he began collaborating with pop music superstar Lady Gaga. The two released an album of duets called Cheek to Cheek, and they toured together throughout that year and the next. Gaga clearly adored Bennett, and he felt the same. They would collaborate frequently up until his final concert at Radio City Music Hall. Throughout his career, he received 20 Grammy Awards, 2 Emmy Awards, and was named a Jazz Master by the National Endowment for the Arts. The Associated Press contributed to this report.